What's up, Fonda? Welcome in. Mother H, welcome. Angel Eyes, welcome. How are you? Welcome in. Grand Rising, everybody. Go ahead and share this live with anybody that you think would benefit from it. Yeah, I'm in my fire right now, but we're going to take a different approach to this shit. I'm going to be honest with you. No, because Wit said Elmo fire. I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready to burn it down right now, to be honest with you. Grand Rising, Leon, what's up? Joy, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How we doing today, fam? What's up, Rhonda? What's up, D? Welcome in, Grand Rising. What's up, Megan? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Sean, welcome in. Yeah, it's pretty sad, man, but that's kind of like basically part of the collective message that things are just slowly dying because they have to be. You know what I'm saying? And even inside of yourselves, you guys can feel it. You guys are knowing that things are changing. There's a huge transition going on right now, not only collectively, but also personally. You know what I'm saying? It's like, in all fairness, we are still part of that collective, whether you want to acknowledge that fact or not, because remember, the whole planet in itself, if you look at it, is a sphere, right? And another way of seeing that is an atmosphere, right? So you have this energetic field around the planet that keeps us from getting sucked out into space and gives us gravity so we can walk around in it, right? You also have a same atmosphere that is attuned to the overall collective energy that is permeating the planet and then reverberating through the planet. So, it's like we have to see how we have to be accountable for our own things. You know what I'm saying? How the way we think, feel, act, accountability, responsibility, how we respond to things. But also at the same time, in all fairness, we have to take a look at the broader perspective or the higher perspective of things, and maybe even a global perspective to understand that there are things outside of ourselves that do play on our psyche, that do affect our demeanor, that make us feel a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't. I'm not trying to talk people out of like literally claiming their own things. You know what I'm saying? That they got to work on. But I'm more so saying that you have to see how you're emotionally affected by these things or energetically affected by one way or another, because you might be holding yourself responsible for something that has nothing to do with you because of the way that you feel. You know what I'm saying? That's that emotional awareness that we have to have within ourselves and become more responsible of our own energy and more mindful of our own energy and what that actually is versus everything else. Or we get caught up in riding the roller coaster or the collective roller coaster or other people's roller coasters because we're interacting energetically with everything around us. You know what I'm saying? This is part of our intuitive ability. It's part of our intuition. It's part of our own guidance systems. And if we don't recognize our flaws versus everything else, because you are flawless in all reality, you are flawless. But the perceived flaws is what hinder us from seeing that we are flawless, right? So it's very important for us to literally discern in that space about what is truly ours, hold ourselves accountable for what is truly ours, but also at the same time hold ourselves accountable for what isn't. You know what I'm saying? Hold ourselves responsible for what isn't. Sorry, I was corrected. You know what I'm saying? Because as within, so without. And when we decide that we're going to match energy, we're going to go on a roller coaster with everything, but we also have to see how we match energy with other things. So, with your permission today, I would like to show you a simple energy exercise that we teach in the mentorship space. Okay, if you want more information on energy healings and chakra tune-ups and all those beautiful things that we have available not only in the mentorship space, but we also have them as independent energy healing services and shamanic healing services, please check us out at fourcornershealing37.com. So basically, I'm going to show you an exercise today that doesn't require any thought. Okay, it's just intention, because a lot of people want to know how to manifest, but they have to see how they're manifesting first, right? We have to understand the spiritual mechanics of things, which is something that we teach here. You know what I'm saying? How things kind of like how you deduce things and how you figure things out and how you hypothesize things and how you actually take things in and out. So for this particular exercise, all I want you to do is focus on the groundedness of your feet on the floor right now, each and every one of you. Come on. It's basically a sensation that is really easy to perceive if you have your feet planted firmly on the ground and literally kind of like just tuning into that, right? And then just kind of like taking a deep breath in, right? But on the exhale, just hum it out. You know what I'm saying? Because humming requires no thought. It's actually a mindfulness practice that we can all use to kind of like show us the distance between our authentic selves, our energy field versus the energy fields outside of us. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really important that a lot of us get a gist of where we're at first and foremost, especially in the beginning of the day versus everything else. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you who are taking a deep breath in and kind of like creating a resonance inside of yourselves to see the gap or the distance between the authenticity of yourself or the awareness of yourself and everything else. Because when you create your own resonance, when you are mastering your own energy field, when you kind of like project to become more self-aware of your energy field versus everything else, what a lot of you will notice is that a lot of those feelings or emotional value or collective energy diminishes over time the more that you initiate this practice. And this is also a spiritual hygiene, self-love, self-discipline, transmutation, transcendence of energy, transcendence of your own awareness. You know what I'm saying? So there is a lot of benefits to focusing on your groundedness in the moment. 33 as I say this. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you who are sitting there and kind of like listening and also kind of like humming your way into resonance, into balance, into awareness of yourself, you'll see that a lot of the things that you were thinking not too many minutes ago are starting to diminish, and you're starting to create more body awareness inside of yourself that actually teaches you of where your ailments might be, physical ailments, aches, pains, stress, anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're having or you're holding on to some type of heavy emotional value or something is being projected at you of emotional value. You know what I'm saying? So it's really important that we do these things to practice mindfulness. That way it's a lot easier for us to be more clear on the messages that we are receiving. And when I talk about the messages, I'm talking about energetic information, right? Because everything is energy, and energy has its own language. And I think if the more that we decide to take that step initially on a daily basis to gauge where we're at versus everything else, I believe that a lot of you would see that there is less work that you thought that you had to do, or more awareness to work that has to be done inside of yourself through that heart-based frequency, or through those chakra frequencies, or through your own lower body or upper body awareness that tells you where the work needs to be done. And it's not that we have to protect those spaces when we feel these things activating inside of us. It's more so an opportunity for you to show for you to show yourself where the growth, where the awareness, where the love, where the appreciation, the gratitude, thank you has to be done. And don't be surprised if some shit just literally pops up out of nowhere inside of your mind, or you start to feel a certain type of way, like something's coming up to the surface. This is part of that transmutation process. So if there's fear, you know what I'm saying? You start becoming nervous or you start becoming anxious. It's a strong opportunity for you to realize that this is something that you have not practiced, that this might be a subconscious program or the ego being uplifted or uprooted inside of you that is triggering these things inside of you to let you know that, hey, this is something not only that you haven't practiced, or maybe this is something that's been hiding in the subconscious for so long. Now the cat's out of the bag, and here we are having to create an action to do something about it, but from a mindful, more clear perspective of where we are versus everything else. The power of now, the power of moment, the power of the present. And when you actualize these practices on a daily basis, not only do you create consistency, but you create resonance. And that resonance is what shows you through clarity that you may or may not have issues within you or outside of you that are affecting you energetically and allowing you to navigate your life from a smoother perspective, because it's all about the smoother transitions. We're done beating ourselves over the butt, beating ourselves into fucking submission for us to change. We're done with that. We have to find another way, because it's another form of abuse in a sense. And we got to stop abusing ourselves. We have to honor and respect ourselves. We have to embrace the light, the love, the energetic flow, rhythm, and resonance that we are with the natural universe, which our natural environment. And when we focus on our atmospheres that we have going on without us, we bring that clarity to the table of not only where the work needs to be done, but what things need to be separate. We need to separate ourselves from, what we need to distance ourselves from, because they're not serving us in one way or another. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those kind of like check the price of pay attention, because also at the same time that you're practicing this type of mindfulness or being in the present moment, it teaches you about what is not present or what is present within you. You know what I'm saying? So there's many ways to say this. You know, there's many ways to do this, and each one of you is unique to yourself. There is no other you on this planet, whether even if you're a twin, because even twins have different characters as well. So, in all fairness, you have to see in those points of clarity, in those moments of mindfulness and oneness, how your mind wants to separate you or categorize you or classify you as something like this or something like that. And that is the spirit of comparison that also rises up from within, trying to create a physical experience to make you feel more comfortable and safe in the moment, and try to nurture you or coddle you or make you believe something that you used to believe that is no longer true through the awareness that you now have within yourself. You know what I'm saying? I can hear somebody in the back, oh, this is boring. Is it really boring? Did you practice it? Did you try it? You know what I'm saying? Because that resonance is something that you are creating for yourself. And that is the life, that is a life lesson. That is the essence of creation. This is how we manifest, dude. You know what I'm saying? And if like for those of you who don't understand that, sit with that for a second, because everything is manifested from your toroidal field, from your auric field. It is a heart-based frequency that is sent out to the universe, and the universe responds, painting a picture for you, creating your reality based on what you think, feel, how you act, how you're accountable and responsible for yourself. It's nothing but a strong, beautiful, conscious biofeedback system. And when we start to understand the biofeedback system inside of ourselves, then we start getting the biofeedback from the universe that gives you more gratitude, more grace, more thankfulness, more ability to have a blessing in the moment than kind of like a shitty attitude. You know what I'm saying? Which is, of course, part of the collective resonance, that we can be easily tripped up into thinking that this is that this is reality, that we have to accept it what it is, we have to surrender to that, and that's how our lives are going to be, and that's when things don't change. And these are kind of like the places that we come from. But we have to understand that as we evolve and we learn and we encourage our spiritual growth within ourselves, then we have to come into a form of acceptance that everything is teaching us something. Everything is telling us something because everything is energetic, right? So it's like it's important for us to kind of like increase that awareness of the biofeedback system that we are, the energetic feedback system where we are, to be more responsible of what it is that we're truly manifesting. Be more appreciative in the moment of what it is that we are manifesting. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's consistently manifesting something based on how they feel, think, and act about themselves, or how they think, feel, and act about everything outside of themselves. It is a mirror aspect which a lot of people aren't willing to accept in one way or another. It's like, I didn't manifest that chaos. I didn't manifest that. No, you're right. You didn't manifest that, but you were meant to feel, you were meant to see something. You were meant to see it, to see how you feel about it, to see if that's something that you want to consistently perpetuate in your life or not. And I believe that's where a lot of people miss the message. You know what I'm saying? Because they look at the monstrosity of the world and they say that I don't want to do that. I don't want to experience that. And that is an example of how the biofeedback system works. Because the universe is ever giving, ever loving, and unconditional about it. Ask and it is given. But we have to take responsibility and accountability for how we're asking. And we might not think that because we're using the word ask, which is a misinterpretation of the message, that energetically we are feeding that to the universe, and therefore the universe is feeding it back to us. So, on a deeper level of understanding and knowing yourself, you realize that the energetic language that is being spoken is different from the language that you are intending to speak, because you're not holding on, or you're not tuning into the natural resonance of yourself, and you compare that to what is outside of yourself and letting yourself go and flow in a way that you haven't before, that makes you feel uncomfortable and unsafe in a sense, which is probably one of the safest practices that you can do. You know what I'm saying? And I want to stop here with this message, but I just want to clarify how we manifest, how the universe is consistently giving us that feedback in every moment of our lives, in every breath and every blink that we take. And the more and more we give ourselves to be open, honest, and vulnerable with ourselves, the more we give the universe an opportunity to show you the blessings of that vulnerability, the gratitude that is associated with that awareness, and the beautiful accountability and responsibility and of seeing how you navigate your life differently from having that open awareness or that open perspective of what it is that is in front of you, what it is that has been placed on your plate. You know, so I just wanted to add that today, and I wanted to share that with you people, simply because I think it's kind of like that time that we take our energetic awareness and realize that that is our primary awareness, that is our primary language. Don't get me wrong, this isn't about dissolving the ego. This is learning about how to balance yourself, your spirit self, versus this human existence, because danger is still a thing. But a lot of people confuse fear with danger, and we have to be mindful of what we consider to be dangerous versus monitoring our own fears and what we're actually scared of, you know? And I believe that this is kind of like a trauma space or a trauma bond that we have with our past in one way or another, that does not allow that spiritual growth and understanding, right? Because it's all, the spiritual warfare is a mind game, it's a manipulation game, and we have to see how words have been manipulated and used against us for a very long time. And it goes from generation to generation or generation. This is happening for hundreds of thousands of years. So when we open up our perspective and incorporate that perspective in our spiritual foundation by understanding who we are versus everything else through natural resonant practices or meditation, or kind of like checking in with yourself, standing in the present, you know, you kind of like learn to live your life in a smoother way. And since we're talking about transitions, because that's part of the collective message, you have to see how you might be being irrational and still thinking on the surface and being reactive and responsive from a past space versus the natural resonance of a smoother transition, the smoothness, the flow of life, because nothing is linear. Everything kind of swims with polarity. And when you're not swimming, you're all up in your feels and you're trying to get away from those feels, or you're trying to get away from that uncomfortability from a mind space which keeps you on that linear track versus the natural rhythm of the universe, which we all have the ability to attune to with this exercise. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to this message, and thank you all for being you. I am doing psychic readings today. If you want a psychic tarot reading, it is 25.55. If you want to have, and we're also doing channel guidance messages for 55.55 today. But if you want a half and half, which is 35.55, it's half tarot, half guidance. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a yin and the yang to everything. A balance to all things in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's 25.55 for a psychic tarot reading. If you want a half and half, which is half guidance, half tarot, of course, this is channeled by spirit, of course. It's 35.55, and if you want a full psychic guidance reading, it is 55.55. The links are in the bio. Just type done and how you donated it. I'd be more than happy to do a reading for you today, and I know that spirit will honor that space as well. So welcome in, fam. How we doing today? Did anybody notice the benefits right off rip of doing that exercise? For those of you who are interested in learning more about this particular exercise, or you want a session, I have a chakra tune-up session, or we do a chakra tune-up session here, which we have various energy healings spaces and shamanic energy healing spaces as well. I want to let you know that those services are available on our website under energy healing services. You know what I'm saying? If you want to learn more about this and possibly get intuitive guidance along the way on how to incorporate these practices in your daily life structure, not only do we have the mentorship spaces, but we have these energy services as well to all you beautiful people out there. You're welcome, baby. Thank you. That has happened to me more than I'd like to admit, man. Because sometimes it's just like that. You know what I'm saying?
It was kind of priceless. It was also sideways.
Oh, it was sideways too. Well, at least it was sideways and not open versus open and sideways. Because then you wear it instead. You're welcome, Rhonda. It's also important to not look at the energy as your enemy, Dawn. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe that is also happening. The energy is not your enemy. It's people that have painted a picture that puts an ugly tinge on certain energies. So instead of showing gratitude for your own awareness of the energy, you end up getting caught in trying to protect yourself from it. And I believe a lot of people suffer from that in one way or another. So, insight is a beautiful thing because insight requires perspective. And when we learn how our perspective can change in a moment, that's how we can take more accountability and responsibility for our actions and behaviors. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That there isn't a person that hasn't benefited from this mentorship space, including myself. You know what I'm saying? And these are the very, very primal functions that we teach people. You know, it's you have to learn how not to match certain energies and rise above the occasion of a triggered or a traumatized moment to see the clarity that is being given to you at that particular point when you're feeling something inside of yourself that you might consider to be a projection or some type of self-defecating behavior. You know what I'm saying? This is what we work on in the mentorship space, because you have to see how you have habitualized yourself to function a certain way and then try to take that way and incorporate it in your spiritual awareness and your spiritual self. And it's kind of like where we miss the mark occasionally, you know what I'm saying? If not frequently in our lives, that kind of discourages us automatically to seek guidance, to, want to be more forthcoming and more willing to express ourselves as human beings, So there's a lot of quietness that is associated with the collective right now that not a lot of people are bringing up or addressing. You know what I'm saying? And it takes me to a space, it's like where I used to, when I was a kid, bro, my dad used to tell me that friends come a dime a dozen, right? And one of the things that I learned, especially in the spiritual space, is that sometimes they're going to tell you, a true friend is going to build you. It's not going to manipulate you, okay? But it's going to build you. It's going to be constructive with you. It's going to be objective with you. It's going to tell you how they feel, how they feel about certain issues from an objective space in order to navigate a balanced perspective or come into oneness with the conversation that you're having. And what we've been witnessing in the collective is that people are still holding on to emotions inside of themselves because of some type of triggered or traumatized behavior that ends up happening in the moment that they're not willing to express. So then they wonder why they get all choked up and they're all up in their throat chakra trying to figure things out. And then the next thing you know, they're all up in the upper chakras, not grounded in the moment and not aware of themselves, acting and responding from a triggered or traumatized space, not allowing them to see the clarity of the moment that they've been given. And it's kind of like, and this is what the creator is saying, this is a gift that we easily misinterpret in one way or another. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that I have a message here from the creator that I can share with all you people. So let me go ahead and tune in for a second. To be one with all things is not necessarily an acceptance of all things, but an awareness of all things. We cannot take these things personally because the second that we do, we become affected by what it is that we take personally. And it's an honest understanding that we must come to terms with within ourselves in one way or another. This is very important because then we miss the blessing that we are in our lives. You know what I'm saying? We are the hero. We are the healer. We are the lover. We are the giver. We are the compassionate one in our lives. And these are the things that we have the ability to give to ourselves because we are the very gift to give to others. And each and every one of you have bared witness to that gift that you have the ability to give another, whether they are deserving of it or not, because they are not deserving of themselves. So with all fairness, it is important for us to witness the unfairness to be fair with ourselves because we have to come from that perspective in which we are. We have to be honest, we have to be loving, and we have to be vulnerable with ourselves because of the boundaries that we've created within one another, which also creates the separation from the interdependent pieces and the interconnectedness of all things in oneness. The divine grace that we show each other, we must show to ourselves as well. We have to see how these gifts of the past have been misused and misinterpreted and used against us to the point where we have demonized ourselves for thinking, acting, or being a certain way. In all fairness, it is a misunderstanding of oneself and what it is to be in a life of form, a life of oneness, a life of interdependence and interconnectedness. We must learn how to show ourselves grace and vulnerability. We must learn how to be uncomfortable in the comfort. We must learn to be comfortable in the uncomfort. Because it is in the uncomfortable not only that shows us the most growth, but it gives us the most awareness of what it is that we're actually perceiving. And when we come from a place of honesty and vulnerability, then we are allowed to show ourselves compassion and grace in the moment, therefore not tortured by the things of the past or the things that we see that remind us of the past, because the past is still a present within many, many among us. And in all fairness, we have to show ourselves even more grace and gratitude in those moments because it teaches us patience. It gives us practice. It gives us awareness. It gives us a loving vibration in an unloving world, in an unloving rhythm, in an unloving resonance. But in all fairness, the way that they're showing it to me right now and the way that they're seeing it is like, we are showing how to be unjust to oneself only to learn the just in ourselves, to teach us the mirror that we all face consistently as adversity. It is not a form of punishment. It is actually a form of pleasure, which we misinterpreted and are misguided and have been misled to sit here and absorb consistently as a way of life when it is no longer tolerable or acceptable. That is why it makes us sick. That is why we have disease and distress in this world, because we are diseased and distressed by others because that's all they know how to give. This is a very giving, loving, blessed space where we have the ability to receive anything that we desire And we have to see how we are choosing to desire those things that are undesirable, that make us uncomfortable. If it is not as a simple, basic, but yet profound universal message on how we allow things and how we tolerate things and how we come into acceptance of things in the many different ways and many different ways that they have been played against us, upon us, triggered, trauma, all those things are teaching us about the things that we are here to purify, not only within ourselves, but within the collective energy. One must stand tall in the face of adversity and understand that adversity is nothing but a challenge, a test, and a lesson to show you how graceful and how compassionate you can be regardless of the circumstances. Open up to yourself. Open your heart up to yourself, because it is the heart-based frequency that manifests all things. That is the story of creation. That is our life structure. That is the essence of who we are. There is no difference between us in that space. Even though that we are at different levels of unique perception and understanding, the overall perception of understanding is that we are all one and we are connected to everything, and that which is undesirable has to change within ourselves in order for it to have a desirable outcome. Salah, thank you. What's up, Chevy? How you doing today? Grand Rising. Just a friendly reminder for those of you who practice this humming exercise on a daily basis, it's always important for each and every one of you to close circle and show gratitude as you close the circle. Whether you close your hands, whether you envision a bubble around yourself, it is always important for you to close circle so that way you maintain your energy versus everything else. You know what I'm saying? You open your line of communication to the universe, God, source, creator, one great spirit, okay, to your spirit team, to your spiritual guidance, and then you go ahead and you close circle to go ahead and absolve whatever it is that has come in for you by you allowing the blessing to come into your life. Okay? The natural resonance. All right? So there's many ways to look at it. You know, we're all creative people, so it doesn't matter. There's no one way to get to the finish line here. There are many ways. So don't compare yourself to other people. You know what I'm saying? Make the practice yours. Embrace it, because it is God's gift that has been given upon thee. And whatever it is that you do with it will be grand as long as you accept it. You know what I'm saying? Does anybody have any questions in here? You know what I'm saying? Again, I just want a friendly reminder to remind people that we're doing a tarot readings for 25.55. If you want a half tarot, half guidance psychic reading, half channel, you know what I'm saying? Which that happens as well. It's 35.55 and 55.55 for a full-on channeled guidance reading or message. You're welcome. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, fam. When you do this exercise, you're going to see how full of shit you are in one way or another. But don't be surprised that you're also going to see how full of shit other people can be, too. Because they're not practicing these things. And in all fairness, you have to be fair to yourself and to the other, to not be judgmental, to not be projective, to not want to lash out at somebody, because that doesn't fix anything. Okay? It really doesn't. The only thing that you're doing in the moment is matching energy and showing people who they are, becoming God's reflection and God's reflection in one way or another, dude. You know what I'm saying? But the only one who usually misses the message is the person that is acting upon it. You know, and I believe that's a place of observance that we can see that literally when we decide that we're going to match people's energy, that we might be matching some type of petty, jealous, fucking anxious, envious behavior, and we're taking on that resonance within ourselves, manifesting those things in our lives in one way or another that we are unable to perceive because we wanted to fucking literally go down to somebody else's level, and we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Out of respect and accountability for ourselves, because it's easy to be God's mirror, because God is also within you. Man, the fluctuations of people in here today are really interesting. I saw 50 people here. All of a sudden, boop, boop, and they're gone. I'm like, where the fuck did everybody go?
Because you stopped talking. It's beautiful, actually.
Yeah, it's actually watching the frequency of things that come in and out. It's like, oh no, I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm not I'm hiding from myself. Yes, ma'am, I did say humming. Humming, natural resonance, is a hum because you are the creator of your experience, and therefore you are creating a resonance in that moment that aligns you with yourself and makes you become more self aware. Everything is energy, and energy is the primary language, and we teach how to learn how to interpret your primary language because we've been mind wiped for so long in one way or another. We've been manipulated in one way or another. We've been taught to think, act, and be a certain way, and tuning into our natural resonance shows us that we make it that way. And then that's when we start exercising that clarity of the moment to make conscious changes in a smoother way instead of getting smacked over the head or run over by a car or hit by a bus, emotionally and energetically by the people, places, and things. So it's a really, really important teaching or lesson space for us to have more responsibility and accountability for who we are versus everything else. Because that's what really makes the difference in our world. It's really simple, Hopi. You can literally plant your feet on the ground, and you can feel the sensations of your the physical sensation of your feet planting on the ground, and just humming into your body, creating even more sensations and awareness of where you at right now, where you're at versus everything else, what you might be holding on to. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not for the meek because when you start gaining insight to the things that you may be holding on to, okay? There's a lot of work that needs to be done with this type of awareness and a lot of responsibility and accountability. And this is why we're pushing that, this is why we tell people about the mentorship space because not everybody knows how to deal with what comes after becoming more self-aware. And this is the beauty of ascension. This is the beauty of enlightenment. And this is why we have the mentorship program, is because little did you know that the elders have been placed before you because you asked for them in one way or another because you're ready for that growth. You know what I'm saying? But you have to see that first in order to engage in it and be more accepting of it and learn how to surrender yourself to. They want me to say something outside of yourself that you need to learn how to trust because it's basically you learning to trust yourself through divine guidance, through mentorship, through appreciation without judgment and love. So yeah, I'm not giving it all up, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got to work. We got to work for these things. You know what I'm saying? Because practice, practice, practice. But you got to see how, and this is what's beautiful about the mentorship space is everybody's unique. There's only, and out of 8 billion people, there's only one you. So you're going to have to learn how to do things a certain way that is custom tailor made to you versus everyone else. Anybody can engage in a spiritual practice, but those practices are usually on the surface. And when you get into the deeper temperament of yourself, that's where you really need some hand holding because it's very psychological. You have to see how the mind likes to play games on you. You also have to see how the subconscious is holding on to old constructs and old ways of being. And one of the easiest ways to see that is that every time you try to do good in your life, something always comes in to sabotage it. And we have to be responsible for the very fact that we're holding on to a resonance or a frequency or something is in our energetic field creating that adversity, not as an enemy, but to show us that we're better than what it is that we're perceiving. And they're using the term petty, because a lot of people engage in pettiness because that's what they've been taught to do, whether they want to admit it or not. And that's why a lot of people become offended, therefore become offensive, because they're under the illusion of a boundary that they've created for themselves and not realizing that the subconscious has built up a self-defense mechanism that basically does not allow the blessings to come in their life, and that's why they're consistently facing adversity. So it's a mind game. And we have to see how we've been playing it upon ourselves too, you know? And I know that not everybody's ready for that kind of work or that message, but if anything, it's an opportunity for to see that this is definitely one of the humps that you have to encourage yourself or push past or save up for. You know what I'm saying? Energetically, reciprocally, and understand how those things work in your life to be able to move things in your life that you perceive to be immovable. I just want to encourage anybody who's subscribing in this space to move over to the subscription space that we now have available. It's called the VIP All Access. It's $14.99 a month. Okay, and you get access to our Magic Monday podcast, our weekly elemental collective message that really puts things into perspective of what you're going to be experiencing or what to look out for during the week. We also have a full moon, a new moon blog and spiritual bath that is available with that subscription, which is something that we cannot offer on this app, unfortunately. You know, so we're actually kind of like asking people to enjoy more of a tailor-made subscription to satisfy those. You hear the crows calling? To say that is more tailor made to the willingness of our giving to be, you know what I'm saying? Because on this app, we're very limited to the things that we can give in a moment. And this will give you 24/7 access to those things that we wanted to put out for you in one way or another that we thought would not only be in your best interest, but allow you to navigate life from a more aware and respectful space, not only for yourself, but for others. You know, for those of you who are interested in a chakra tune-up, we can go through we go through those exercises, not only in the mentorship space, but we can do those services independently if that's what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? We have those services available on our website. They're under Energy Healing Services. If you are a VIP member, you get a 10% discount off rip off of all our plans and plans, packages, and services for being a VIP access member. So you're not going to pay retail price. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, of course, it's a subscription base, which is on a monthly $14.99 a month. But you get access to not only all the beautiful things that we just handed out, but a 10% off discount on our services and our plans and our packages that would benefit you in the future. Huh? I have to tell you to please read the disclaimers. There are little check boxes that says that you are agreeing and you understand to these things. Don't just check them, make sure that you read them, because when you enter a healing space, it's important that you realize and you come to the terms with the fact that you're going to feel uncomfortable or insecure or unsure about things as they come up to the surface, because it's showing you where the maturity needs to happen. And we educate you and try to keep you balanced to that space to the best of our ability, because you are a human being and you have your own devices as well. But please read those disclaimers before you sign up for our services. Then understand that you are agreeing to the fact that, hey, you might feel uncomfortable doing these healing sessions or these mentorship spaces, that there are things that you are combating that are unknown to you, that you might be fearful of, and literally kind of become uncomfortable with that space to the point where you might not desire it anymore, you know? But it's important for each and every one of you to understand that you're only facing the boundaries and limitations that have been placed upon yourself. Okay? Especially judgments. So I hope I addressed that question the best of my ability, Hopi. You know what I'm saying? Again, for a friendly reminder in the room, I am doing readings today for $25.55 if you want a psychic tarot reading. I mean, if you want a half and half, which is half guidance, half tarot, it's $35.55, or you want a full guidance channel message, it's $55.55 today. There's a link in the bio. Just type done and how you donated, and I'd be more than happy to do a reading for you today in that space. Yeah, so it's really important for people to understand that you can't really compare yourself to anybody because the only thing you're doing is misjudging yourself. And that came directly from spirit. So, get in where you fit in, fam. I got a couple spots available. If not, I'll just get up out of here. We always have mentees to deal with and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But as a form of gratitude, appreciation, and kind of like showing up, showing out, and kind of like putting ourselves out there to show love and appreciation for all you beautiful human beings that are looking for insight and betterment of themselves. Here we are. You know what I'm saying? So take the opportunity to kind of like take a hold of something right here, right now, because it's being offered to you in the moment. What's up, Deb? I see you, lady. Spirit's like, oh, we need more quality in our lives. And I'm like, I totally agree, dude, because like we've been handed a bag of shit for too long. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like stuff. And I'm just using my words as a, slang and stuff like that. It's like we've been receiving a lot of kind of like discomforting information for a very long time that keeps us stuck in kind of like this illusion that we need to be consistently healing something. And that's a toxicity is what they're saying here, which also can be alleviated with our services. You know what I'm saying? We can show you how sometimes you just got to put the sword down, to see everything that's already been cut. How you doing today, Deb? Hanging in there? Well, I mean, don't hang there for too long. Your arms will get tired, dude. Thank you very much for the compliment, man. All right, fam. Well, I guess I'm going to get up out of here, man. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to the collective message today. I'm going to get up out of here and move on to other things. Again, it's an honor and a pleasure to be in this space, to be able to share these messages from Spirit, and to be a beautiful representative of God's source, creator, and Spirit myself. What's up, Mama Briggs? And a representative of Stella and the mentorship space as well. You know what I'm saying? So, for those of you looking for insight, you know where to reach us, for cornershealing37.com. We have all our services listed to the public. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, become a member. If you're interested in the VIP space, understand that it's $14.99 a month, and you have access to all the beautiful gifts that we have available in that space for all you VIP members as well, including that 10% off discount. Much love to each and every one of you. Have a beautiful and blessed day, fam. Peace.